Namaste dear students and welcome to the virtual learning of SL English Medium School. Today in this video, we are going to discuss about the second part of the Dear Departed. The Dear Departed drama was penned down by Mr. William Stanley Horton. In the previous videos, we already had discussed about the plot, the characters, the story of the entire The Dear Departed drama. In this video, we are going to speak exclusively about what happens after Mr. Abel Merriweather allegedly comes back to life. All the family members, that is Henry, Emilia, Victoria, Elizabeth and Ben, all of them thought that Mr. Abel Merriweather passed away. And they started too quickly dividing his things up. But to their shock, he comes back to life. And I told you this lesson, this drama, the second part of the drama that we have as the lesson in our English language textbook is more interesting and fascinating for different reasons. For the reasons that they thought Mr. Abel Merriweather was dead, and Emilia Slater started stealing the possessions of her father. She was quick enough to steal the bureau, the clock, and the slippers of her father. As Mr. Abel Merriweather comes back to life, primarily he doesn't find his slippers by his bed. He doesn't find his bureau. He doesn't also find his handsome clock. And when he comes down, it's also interesting to see that all the family is in new mourning, which in other words would mean they are all wearing black dresses, which means somebody in the family was dead. But the poor grandfather, poor father, that's Mr. Abel Merriweather, doesn't know that he was dead in the opinion of his family. So, dear students, without further delay, we'll begin the second part of the Dear Departed. But before that, I urge you all, if you had not seen the first part of the Dear Departed's dramas videos, I urge you all, request you to go back to the Facebook and watch the videos that are of the first part of the Dear Departed. Before starting reading the textbook of the second part of the Dear Departed, I would just like to read out the last paragraph of the first part of the Dear Departed, which acts as a bridge to the Dear Departed 1 and 2. So all of you take your textbooks and look at the last paragraph of the first part of the Dear Departed. They look at the door, a slight chuckling is heard from upstairs. The door opens, revealing an old man clad in a faded but gay dressing gown. He is in his stocking feet. Although over 70, he is vigorous and well colored. His bright, malicious eyes twinkle under his heavy, reddish grey eyebrows. He is obviously either the old man, Abel Merriweather, or else his ghost. So in this paragraph, we understand the scene where Mr. Abel Merriweather was coming down the stairs from his room. And you are aware that when Victoria went to her grandfather's room, and when she found that he was waking up from his bed and coming down, she was frightened because she thought that he was dead. But he was coming back to life. So she ran down the stairs shouting that Mr. Abel Merriweather, or Grandpa, was getting up. And everybody was looking up the stairs to find Mr. Abel Merriweather come down. So as they were all looking up, Mr. Abel Merriweather is coming down the stairs. And how was he? He was about 70 years old, but still he was vigorous, is well colored, and he is wearing a simple gay gown, which means a kind of night dress. And he has got his feet stockinged. He is wearing socks to his feet. So that's where we ended the first part of the Dear Departed. The Dear Departed Part 2. Abel. What's the matter with little Vicky? He sees Ben and Mrs. Jordan. Hello, what brings you here? How's yourself, Ben? Abel thrusts his hand at Ben, who sits. Abel thrusts his hand at Ben, who skips back smartly and retreats with Mrs. Jordan to a safe distance below the sofa. Mrs. Slater, approaching Abel gingerly. Father, is that you? She pokes him with her hand to see if he is solid. Abel. Of course it's me. Don't do that, Emilia. What the devil do you mean by this tomfoolery? Mrs. Jordan. You took us by surprise, Father. Are you keeping quite well? Trying to catch the words. Yeah? What? Mrs. Jordan. Are you quite well? Abel. I'm right enough, but for a bit of a headache. Looking at Emilia. Emilia, what the devil do you mean? Emilia, what the dickens did I do with my slippers? Abel. I'm right, but for a little bit of headache. Looking at Emilia. Emilia, what the dickens did I do with my new slippers? Mrs. Slater, confused. Aren't they by the heart, Father? Abel. I don't see them. Observing Henry, trying to remove the slippers. Why you've got him on, Henry? So students, as we are beginning the first part of the Dear Departed, in the very first scene, we find Abel Merriweather coming down the stairs and finding Ben and Elizabeth coming to the house of Emilia and Henry after so many years. So it naturally amazes, surprises Abel Merriweather. So it naturally surprises Mr. Abel Merriweather to find Ben and Elizabeth coming to the house of Emilia and Henry after a very long time. Because of that, he's surprised and he says hello to both of them and asks what is surprise and what have you the reason that you have to come down to Emilia's house after a very long time. And later on, he is asking for the slippers that were supposed to be in his bedroom, but which he doesn't find. Emilia tries to patch it up, saying they will be by the hearth, Father. But Abel says, no, I don't find them. And also as Mr. Abel Merriweather comes down, both the sisters, Emilia and Elizabeth, both of them ask him questions on his health. They are all shocked and surprised, and they are run short of words to talk to Mr. Abel Merriweather. And they ask him if he was quite well, and they are glad, they say, that he is back alive. So we'll move on to the next page. But before that, also observe the last sentence where Abel is asking Henry, who is trying to remove the slippers. Abel is asking, look at the last sentence. I don't see them. Then observing Henry trying to remove the slippers. Why you've got M on, Henry? Observe that. Why you've got M. M is the contraction there of them, which means the slippers. Why you've got the slippers on? Why are you wearing my new pair of slippers? So there we went into. So there we are in the first page, and then we will move on to the next page. Mrs. Slater promptly. I told him to put them on to stretch them. They were that new and hard. Now, Henry. So Emilia is trying to cover up that her husband was wearing the slippers of her father. And when Abel sees the slippers being worn by Mr. Henry, he asks, Henry, why you've got them on? Why did you wear my slippers? And when he says, Henry was trying to remove the slippers. And that was the time when Emilia was trying to patch up, saying, they are very new and hard. I asked him to wear so that they will stretch. And they will be useful, or they will be easy for you to wear after they are stretched. So Emilia is trying to patch up, cover their stealing of the new pair of slippers of Mr. Abel Merriweather. And she does that promptly. Promptly means quickly. Mrs. Slater snatches the slippers from Henry and gives them to Abel, who puts them on and sits in the armchair. You observe one thing here. In this, you observe very interesting incident happening, interesting observation that you might have. See, the character that is Mr. Henry Slater is someone who does whatever his wife tells. He's more of a woman's man, her wife's husband. So she asked him to wear the slippers and she wore it. He asked him to bring down the bureau. He brought it. So whatever Emilia is telling, she asked him to wear the new pair of slippers of Mr. Abel Merriweather, and Henry wore it. She asked him to bring down the bureau and he brought it. So whatever Emilia is trying to say, without much of questioning, Henry is doing it. But he's not. But it's not that he was a bad man. He is someone with conscience. And whenever his wife Emilia is telling something mischievous to be done, he tries to stop her. So he's a pious man, generous man, yet he does whatever his wife tells. So she took the slippers from Henry and gave it to her father. Mrs. Jordan, that's Elizabeth. Elizabeth is speaking to Ben. Well, I don't call that delicate, stepping into a dead man's shoes with such haste. So Elizabeth is speaking to her husband, saying, I didn't call that delicate. It's not sensitive. It's not good that you step into someone's slippers, dead man's slippers, with such haste. Here, delicate means sensitive with such haste. Haste means hurry. So Elizabeth is speaking to her husband Ben, saying Henry should not be too hurried to wear the slippers just because he thought Mr. Abel Merriweather dead. So Elizabeth is now pointing out the mistake done by Emilia and Henry. Meanwhile, Victoria runs across to Abel and sits on the floor at his feet. So naturally, they are now sitting at the table, and then in front of the table, in the middle, the owner of the house, the head of the family, will be sitting in the middle, and both sides, the family members will be sitting. And remember, they are sitting for tea, evening. Now, Victoria is running up to the side of Mr. Abel Merriweather, and she is sitting at the feet of her grandfather. Victoria runs across to Abel and sits on the floor at his feet. Victoria runs across to Abel and sits on the floor at his feet. Victoria is saying, "Oh, Grandpa, I'm so glad you are not dead." So she is too quick enough to express her gratitude, to express her happiness, saying, "Grandpa, I'm so glad you are not dead." But Abel Merriweather doesn't know that everybody in the family was previously thinking that he was dead. But children have this quality of speaking out their mind. As they grow up, it is grown-ups that control the talk of the children, saying this should be talked, this should not be talked, it has to be talked in particular situation, this should not be spoken out in particular situation, when outsiders are there, you should not talk this way. So many instructions and guidelines confuse the mind of children. But children have that innocence of speaking the truth, of speaking their mind. So Victoria was speaking her mind. She was trying to be grateful. She was trying to express her gladness, saying, "Grandpa, I'm so glad you're not dead." Then Mrs. Slater, in a vindictive whisper, vindictive, commanding whisper. Whisper means talking in a low noise, low pace. She's saying, "Hold your tongue, Victoria." So her mother, Emilia, is saying, "Hold your tongue, Victoria." That means, hold your tongue means to keep quiet. Emilia was asking her daughter Victoria to keep quiet because she was speaking out her mind, saying, "Grandpa, I'm glad you are not dead."